Honestly, this is weird to me because 3 episodes in, you can fall in love with the show, don't get me wrong, but to be as connected as I currently am with Lloyd, Yor, and of course, best girl Anya, it's insane to me to feel like I've known this dynamic for years. Like, that's how immediate it feels with any situation. And the fact that we're just at the stage of introducing Yor into the new place, right? You know, here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, I can wash my face all by myself. As you have Best Boy over here, honestly, I'm surprised they don't go through so much Advil, Tylenol, something to clear the headaches that must be going through this boy's mind. But to see how, you know, at every step of the way where he doubts that this family's going to work out, that he picked the wrong girl because clearly she's just too innocent, she's not going to be able to pass the entrance exam, this girl roped up into becoming a housewife. But ultimately, every step of the way, similar to the first episode at the very end of it, that is, you're seeing him get so happy. And you can tell this is probably the first time, potentially in his entire life, that he's ever shown signs of genuine happiness. Because as they continue to hint at, even if you don't have much experience with spy stories, assassin stories, things like that, if you're raised on either end of that spectrum, you're taught not to be a human. You're taught to be a tool that is to be used in the most efficient manner. So to see him have genuine happiness and to see him embrace things other than his mission, I mean, if his bosses ever saw that, I mean, I wouldn't doubt them trying to kill Yor or Anya just because clearly you don't want to break your best soldier. But I love the fact that for the viewer, as it stands, watching him have these subtle moments after previously admitting that he's like, I picked the wrong daughter, I picked the wrong this or that. But no, for him, ultimately, this is building into the most wholesome family dynamic that is simultaneously the most psycho when you take a bit of a step back. I think one of my favorite gags in this episode has to be Yor. I mean, it first starts around the art gallery. She's just looking at the most violent painting and just, she's blushing, she's in awe because as an assassin, what things are going to make you happy? What are the brilliant ways people killed their enemies in the past? Or when they're at dinner, right? He has his head in his hands. He's just so over it. Like the fact that she orders food and she only eats the nuts off it. And then you pan over to Yor and she's playing with, I think it's just a butter knife. I don't think it's actually that sharp, but she's just in awe and she's blushing and he's just ready to bash his skull in. The fact that each of them has like a core characteristic that is funny on its own. Anya kind of has like her peanut spy kind of infatuation, I guess is how I'd put it. And of course she has like her meme faces, which are always comedy gold. Yor is a violent killer who has the most adorable anime wife mother persona backing it. And then of course you have Lloyd, who kind of feels like the middleman, but is such a badass that can kick ass and take names for the most unlikely of reasons, as he simultaneously will think about what he's taught. Like when he jumps on that purse snatcher and he's like, hey, you know, call the police because clearly he's a bad person. And you pan away and you see, I don't know, probably a few dozen people looking in on what he just did. A man jumping from a bridge and tackling a guy. An ordinary guy couldn't do that, as you hear him say, yeah, you know, you got to make sure no one can catch on to what you're doing. He clearly has already broken his years of training in just a couple of short days after meeting these 2 women. I mean, seriously, like, they got him outnumbered right now, and the shit that they get up into, I don't think he's gonna be able to, like, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if we see gray hairs on this man sooner rather than later, and then at that point, he'd probably just dye his entire hair. He'd be like, you know what, we're just gonna avoid this entire situation. But I did love it. I love seeing the first true taste of them as a family, because sure, Yor met Anya in last week's episode when she was getting her dress fixed, right? But we never really got a good taste of them as like a mother-daughter duo. So this was the first episode to really get into the swing of things. And immediately, it's heartwarming as hell. I mean, just seeing her like lead her through the home and saying, this is yours, and then getting those kind of like subtle reminders of how crazy this family is. Like the one box that she didn't put away is full of poison that could kill an elephant. And you just see like Anya just almost deadpan, like what in the actual hell, I forgot how crazy she can be. Or even like that moment when they're at the art gallery and she draws essentially like spoiling for the world what this family is. A spy, an assassin, this and that. Like sure, Mr. Chimera, her little stuffed animal, was maybe given a role a little more extreme than reality. But the fact that they just view it as a child's drawing because she watches spy programs, this and that, it's just amazing. On one hand, I was kind of thinking to myself throughout the episode, like, really, if she could reveal her telepathy to Lloyd, things would go a lot easier for him, and he would clearly never have doubts about keeping her. But on the flip side, I think her continuing to just be an innocent bystander from their point of view makes a lot more sense. I think after seeing now 3 episodes, it almost feels to me like they want this story to be each of them keeping their secrets, but growing to love the other in a genuine way, and probably believing that they're the issue in the relationship, right? Because clearly, as an assassin, or as a spy, or as a girl who has the ability to read minds, you're going to break apart the family someday and you're going to hurt them all, but you can't help but feel your true feelings for them. But eventually, they'll probably all have to reveal it at the same time. I don't expect anytime soon. But then they'll realize that they are a real family and everything has been genuine and they can go right off in the sunset potentially. You never quite know, right? But I love seeing how there is that subtle reminder of the mature undertones. But the thing that dominates these episodes is the wholesome family dynamic, if not a little violent at times. Though I did like the subtle reminder of like just what Anya went through, because we got in episode 1 a taste that she was experimented on, was not happy, she was crying, she was clearly in pain. And as we saw with the kind of glimpse when they're at the political rally, her mind was going crazy because of all the voices. But then when she tried to hone in on the purse snatcher, she actually started bleeding from her nose, and then Lloyd says something along the lines of, I don't know why that happened again. So clearly if she uses her ability too much, or maybe if she uses it when there's so many different voices around her, it actually seems to damage her health. Like, I'm not saying her life just got cut by a year, but I mean, we can already see the undertones of a more extreme plotline of her ending up in the hospital or something. But still, it's great to see this family really get into the swing of things. It may be fake, all things considered, a fake, marriage certificate that says they've been around for a year, but ultimately, like, this is fantastic. This is genuine family. It's built around so much craziness, but it's hard not to get a kick out of it. I mean, without a doubt, when looking at all the new anime that have come out this wonderful anime season, Spy Family is my favorite. It easily is. I'm glad that it's as popular as it is. I'm glad that it's getting the hype that I think it deserves, and it's something that I'm already excited for its second core in fall of this year, but I'm glad that we're not rushing into that second core. I'm glad that it is a split core, because just seeing the level of quality, whether it's the backgrounds, whether it's the expressiveness, and just even the simple animation, that goes a hell of a long way to make things feel a lot more realistic than it would have been if it would have maybe taken the shortcut and made things a little more stiff and hardly animated. But damn, Spy Family, I understand now the hype, why manga readers were so kind of like saying this will be anime of the season for so many. And I'm like, shit, people say that about every popular show, but honestly, I'm right there with them. This show is amazing character writing, comedy, and even a little bit of drama right now. I'm excited to see that interview because on one hand, it seems like they have the experience, but on the other hand, it seems like they're going to be referencing things a school like that won't want to hear about, but time will tell. Thoughts and feelings on Spy Family Episode 3 down below. Let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.